Hello, my name is Osei Enoch Abuaje. I am in the Computer Science Department of Universitas International Batam. In this video, I'm going to present about operating system security and internet security. So I will first start with the operating system security. When we say operating system, what is an operating system? Operating system is a software that manages computer hardware, software, and provides common services. What are some of the functions of operating systems? One, they manage files, they manage memories, they manage the input and output devices. Then they manage all the resources of the computer and they provide security or protection. So that is the function of an operating system, or OS in short. What are some of the operating systems that we have? The most common one is called Windows operating system. We also have Mac OS, Linux, and Android for mobile phones and other devices. But why should operating system be secured? So we will look at why operating systems should be secured. And without operating system, your computer cannot work, or your system will never work. Okay, so let's look at the operating system security. What is an operating system security? And I have this diagram here. So I'll use this diagram to explain the meaning of operating system security. When we say operating system security, it is the process of ensuring that we have confidentiality, we have integrity, and also availability of systems. And this diagram is called CIA triad. So the process of ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of systems is called operating system security. Okay, but what is the meaning of confidentiality, integrity, and availability? Confidentiality ensures that the system's objects should only be available to a small group of people who are authorized and have the permission to use. The system should not be available to everyone. For instance, maybe in a company, some of the resources of the company should not be available to all the workers, or some of the resources should not be available to people from different departments. So that is it. Confidentiality shows that the system or the resources are available only to those who have the permission to access it. And integrity talks about the mechanisms concerning file modification, to who can change files or who can modify files. That's what integrity is talking about. And files should not be given to people to modify if they don't have the permission to do so. Again, availability ensures that the system resources should be available to all authorized users. And in availability, all people who have permission should have access to all the resources that they can have access to. With regards to availability, the system should not be too complex that a user who has the permission should not be able to access the resources. In that case, it becomes a problem and not a security measure. Okay, so let's move on. You can see here we have threat and attack, and they are the two violations that can attack the operating system. I mean, to to prevent confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay, so we will concentrate on the threat. We will concentrate on the threat. And here we have types of threat. What are the types of threat that we have? We have program threats and system threats. And looking at the program threat, we have virus. Okay, so the first one is virus. And what are viruses? Like, we have these terms here: virus, Trojan horse, logic bomb, trapdoor, and others. And many times we get confused in their meaning, what they mean, or we think they are almost the same, but they have differences. So these are the features of a virus. One, they replicate themselves, meaning they reproduce themselves. Two, they attach themselves to files. And they run manually by the user, meaning that viruses cannot run by themselves. They have to be manually run by the user. Again, they change, modify, or delete files. And lastly, they render system inoperable. So viruses will make sure that we cannot use the system again. The next one on the list is Trojan horse. And Trojan horse is a program or a threat that disguises itself. So they behave as if they are good programs, but they are threat to the system. So Trojan may hide. They may hide in games, apps, or even software patches. A software patch is what we call update. So if you have a program or a software on your computer or on your mobile phone, sometimes you need an update, and that update is what we call here software patches. So the Trojan may hide in there. Then we have logic bomb. Logic bomb also may function normally, but they misbehave only when certain conditions are met. So when their conditions are met, they will start misbehaving. That is how logic bombs work. And the last one under program threat is trapdoor. So maybe the program is designed well, but there may be some weaknesses in the code, and that weakness will cause the program to function illegally. So that is how trapdoors work. Because of the weaknesses in their security code, they function illegally. Now let's move on to look at system threats. So the system threats that we have here are port scanning, worms, and denial of service. Okay, so we will start by looking at the port scanning. As we all know, we know port and slots. So a port is a point of attachment in the system. So port scanning is a method used by hackers to determine weaknesses in the system. It may be done in connection to specific port using TCP or IP. And attackers usually use zombie systems. So in port scanning, they usually use zombie systems to get the weaknesses in the system. Then the next one is worm. Worm has some features of virus. So if you don't take care, you will say that a worm and a virus are the same, but they have some differences. One, worms also replicate themselves. Viruses replicate themselves and worms too. Two, they run automatically. So house viruses are running manually by the user, by the user. Worms run automatically. Again, they utilize security hosts. If you look at the spelling of worm, we have the organism that is called worm, and you know how they live. They live in holes in the soil. So a worm in the system also, like, they behave like that. They utilize security holes, and they are the most common malware that we have. They are very common. An example of malware, an example of worm is I Love You, which was created in the year 2000. Okay, then the last on the list under system threat is denial of service. And when we say denial, I think we all know the meaning. If you are being denied to access something. Okay, so in the denial of service, users or authorized users are denied to some of the services in the system. This can be done by flooding. They flood the system with traffic, and it prevents some users from using the system. Okay, so let's move on. Now, threat to operating system. You have malware, and malware is a general name. It's a general name for all these programs. So don't be confused about malware and virus. Malware is like a container. All these like virus, Trojan horse, logic bomb, and the others, they fall under malware. So a malware is a threat to operating system. Again, we have buffer overflow. And buffer overflow is a program, when a program overruns the buffer boundary and overwrites adjacent memory locations. And that will cause a weakness in the system that will be utilized by attackers later. Then the last one is network intrusion. And when we look at this name, as the name suggests, intrusion, to intrude, meaning to go where you are not permitted to. So network intrusion means that people are going to, or they are accessing what they don't have the permission to access. Okay. Then how can we maintain operating system security, or how can we ensure operating system security? The first one is authentication. We use usernames, passwords to make sure the system is secured. Or we also have user attribution and user card or user key. So they all fall under authentication to make the system secure. Again, we also have one-time password, and it includes secret key, random numbers, and network password. We also have firewall to also make the system secure. And again, we have physical security, and physical security is talking about the physical environment of the system. So your system may be exposed to some physical features in the environment, like dangerous features in the environment, like flooding, earthquake, tsunami, and the others. Again, they may be stolen. Maybe a laptop or your computer may be stolen by a person in the company or a person from outside. Or a system may be damaged due to maybe heat in the room, or due to the fact that your workplace is dirty. there are a lot of dust in the place. Okay, so this is all about the operating system security, and I'm going to move to internet security. As we all know, we need internet to do a lot of things. So we use the internet to search for information, to watch news, to communicate with others, to share files and data. We use the internet for gaming and business purposes. Okay, now let's look at threats to internet security. The first one is malware, and I talked about malware when I was talking about the operating system security. So I said malware is a general name for programs like viruses and others. So under the malware we have virus, and I discussed virus, so I'm not going to talk about it again. Here we also have spyware. And as the name suggests, to spy means to spy users, to get their information. So we may have keylogin. Keylogin means that there are some programs that will detect when you are typing. Any key that you type on the keyboard will be detected, and the information will be sent to the creator of the spyware. We also have ransomware, and ransomware is a threat in which all your files or your system will be hijacked. They will hijack and tell you to pay some amount before you get your system back. We also have where I discussed in the previous slide, so I'm not going to talk about it again. And we also have Trojan. Okay, the next one is denial of service. I have discussed that. And phishing. Phishing is like they will behave as if they are from maybe your company or from your university in order to get your information. So they may behave as if they are authentic or genuine, and you provide some information like your card, your password, your username, and others, and they will use it to attack you. Application vulnerability. So this is talking about any weakness in a system, and attackers are always looking for weaknesses in the system to attack. So before they will attack, they will study the system, or they will study you to know your weaknesses, and they will use the weaknesses to plan for their strategies. So any vulnerability or any weakness in your system may be used by an attacker to attack your system or to attack your internet. Let's look at countermeasures, or how we can make our internet secure. We have multi-factor authentication. So in the first slide, I talked about authentication, and here we have multi-factor authentication. In multi-factor authentication, we use what we know, like we know our password, we know our username to log in into our system. Or we may also use what we have. What do you have? Maybe you have your phone, you have your electronic card, or you have any other card to log in. And an example of this is when you give a two-factor authentication to your email, so that when you want to log in, maybe you may need to log in from your computer and your mobile phone at the same time. If someone wants to log in into your system using a computer, or if you are logging in into your Gmail using a different computer, you may get a message on your phone you may get message on your phone to say that it is really you who is accessing the system or the internet. Or they may also use whom they are. We use whom we are to access the system. Like we use our fingerprint, and our fingerprint is what we are. So we can use our fingerprint, we can use the face, the voice, and a lot of things to get access to the system. So that is what multi-factor authentication is talking about. We also have internet protocols. So we can use internet protocols to secure the internet. And again, we use electronic mail security to make it secure. And the next one is antivirus. We use antiviruses to make the system secure. And the next one is browser choice. We have a lot of browsers like Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, and others. And they have different principles and different features. So you can choose well to make your internet secure. And the next one, the last one on the list, when we talk about making the internet secure, is firewall. Okay, so to finish, I have a case. I have an example of a case here, and it says that at the National Association of Mutual Saving Banks, Mutual Saving Banks Conference in January 1976, Atala Corporation, founded by Mohammed Atala, and Banca Ramo Corporation, founded by George Banca and Simon Ramo, introduced the earliest product designed for dealing with online security. Atala later added its identity hardware security model and supported processing online transactions and network security. Designed to process bank transactions online, the identity system was extended to shared facility operations. It was compatible with various switching networks and was capable of resetting itself electronically to any one of 64,000 irreversible nonlinear algorithms as directed by card data information. In 1979, Atala introduced the first network security processor, or NSP. So this is an example of a case to make the internet secure. And I got it from Wikipedia. So Wikipedia is the source of this information. Now, to conclude on operating system security and internet security, we all have to know that no system is 100% secured. So we should work well. We should be aware of that and make our system secure. For operating system, you can always update the operating system. Like if you're using Windows, you have to always update the operating system to make it secured. And again, if you go to public places like hotels and other places, do not use free Wi-Fi. Do not use free Wi-Fi. Or if you may use, you have to ask those who are in charge before you start using them. Okay, so that is all I have for you. Thank you.